and it has a side brush that it can extend to clean that corner. Hello everyone, this is Just a Dad. So today we're going to do an unboxing and show you how to set up for the first time the Mova P10 Pro Gen 2. This was just released, but they've kind of taken it off Amazon. I'm not sure why. I did purchase this with my own money. I wasn't paid for this video. This will be just the setup and unboxing. I'm going to take it to my house, use it for 3 months, and then I'll give it my final score. But I paid $600 for this. And as always, you can find my favorite robot vacuum cleaners that I highly recommend at my website, justadadapproved.com. I do use affiliate links, so if you purchase the product using a link in my video or on my website, the product's not going to cost you anymore, but I do earn a small commission from the sale. Okay, now this was new boxing. It's sideways. Typically they're up, down. I've got the Gen 2 over there, which I'll be doing later. That's the L40 Gen 2. I'm not sure, this is not on the Mova website. I anticipate it will be. It's January 15th right now. They probably sometimes things get released on Amazon early and then they don't realize it and then they take it back off. So mop pads, solution. And I will be comparing this to the original Mova P10 Pro. It's kind of heavy. Got a tray, and I'll be laying all this stuff out. Ooh, I love that we get an extra filter for the dustbin. And I don't know the specs on this, so I only know the major specs. I've got to research and kind of figure out as we go. So let me grab this. Don't grab it by the plastic. I'm going to tilt it sideways and roll it onto the bench here. Okay, it's time for the big reveal. I don't even know what it looks like. Here is the Generation 2. We've got a completely new, redesigned, ooh, that's metal. This is completely new. Dust bag area looks the same. Solution tank up here. Let's get all this open. I'm anxious to see. I think this will all be the same. Same. Clean water tanks, nothing inside there. And same dirty water. It's got the brackets for that deodorizer. This all looks the same. Let's go around back. This all looks the same. Switch. Yep. Here's the robot LiDAR navigation. Okay, so it comes with the standard brush. I was hoping it came with a tri-cut brush. I thought I could. I hear something inside it. Oh boy. And looks like a standard dustbin. So we'll go over all the specs, but I definitely hear something inside it. So I've got everything unboxed. I've got it laying here on the table. We've got the mop pads that we're going to install. I do like that we get an extra filter for the dustbin inside the dustbin power cord. I do like that it comes with a manual. The manual is very good and easy to follow. We got some solution, floor cleaning solution. Here's the robot. Number one thing I love, it's got a LiDAR navigation on the front. Here's the docking station. Now the docking station does look a little bit different. We've got some metal here, probably for drying the mop pads. The water is going to shoot out a little different. There's a little filter here you're going to have to take off and clean once in a while. But the base station, this is where it's going to wash the mop pads, auto empty the dustbin, fill the robot up with water, and charge it. Now here's the ramp. So we have to put the ramp on, make sure this is nice and flush. Here's where the dust bag is. So about every 2 months, you're going to have to replace this. You simply just pull that out. I do like it feels like they've kind of increased the seal here. And then here is a solution tank. So you're going to put the concentrated A solution, which is the Mova multi-surface floor cleaning solution. You're going to dump that into here. And then the base station is going to figure out the mixture to mix it with the water. So this little sample bottle doesn't quite fill it up all the way. Now what I do is I put a little bit of Shark Vac Mop solution in the clean water tank. So put this down. There's a little electrical connection on the back for a water pump. Up top here, we've got a clean water tank. There's a float in there and there's a filter inside there. You're gonna fill this up with clean water, and then here's the dirty water tank. There's a float in, so you'll have to clean this out and scrub this out once in a while. The door here, it's got like a seal. Just push it on, make sure you're nice and flush all the way around. Now around back, it does have a switch. This is a power switch, so make sure the switch is down in the line position. The power cord is 6 feet long. It's 3-prong. You're gonna plug it in like this. Make sure it's fully seated. There is a little bit of cord wrap here. Let's go over 640 watts when it's hot water cleaning, 120 volts, 60 hertz. And there is a little display light here that's gonna tell us different things. Okay, docking station front to back, 18 inches or 45 centimeters. Left to right, 13.5 inches or 34 centimeters. Let's measure the height now. You do have to lift that door all the way up. And to get the door all the way up is 33 inches or 83 centimeters. Let's take a close-up look of where it's gonna wash the mop pads. Again, the water shoots out here. It is going to heat the water to clean the mop pads. This is metal. This must help with drying. And at the end of it, it is going to blow hot air onto the mop pads to dry them. Okay, here is the robot vacuum cleaner. The sensor on the front, I think that's a camera. There's no sensors here. Looks like we got some sensors here and a sensor here. We have spinning LiDAR navigation. Open this up, take these bumpers out. And now the bumper is free to move. Around back, there is this remove before use. There is another sensor here to help it back up into the dock. Alignment pins, this is where it fills the internal, this robot has an internal water tank and charging points. Here's where it's gonna auto empty the dustbin. Let's take a look at the dustbin. It does come with a filter, but it comes with an extra filter. These are reusable. You have to wash this about every 2 weeks, let it dry in the sun. So, put that back. There is a reset little button right here. Okay, let's measure the robot. It's 13.75 inches or 35 centimeters wide. Now the tallest point on the robot is its LiDAR navigation. It's right at 4 inches, which is about 10.1 centimeters. Now up top, I do like that we have 3 physical buttons. There's a power button, which is also like a start stop. There's a spot clean button, and then there's a dock button. So if it's out bothering you while it's cleaning your room, you can just go up and hit the dock button and it'll tell it to go back to the docking station. Side brush does extend. We have a side sensor here to help us know when it's up against the wall. The mop pad also extends. Let's flip it over. Okay, so this does have, you gotta install the mop pads. Now there's a little trick. These mop pads are held on with Velcro, and sometimes they're just kind of barely on there when it comes out of the box. So what I recommend is really engaging that Velcro. Now you can put these in your laundry to freshen them up. You will have to replace these about every 3 months. Now it can lift the mop pads because it has a carpet sensor up here. And it can extend one of the mop pads right up against the wall. That's a very nice feature. And it also has that internal water tank, and it sprays water. I'm trying to find, looks like it sprays water here and here on top of the mop pad to keep it wet. Here's the drive wheels. Here's your main brush. Now this is the standard main brush. You can install, probably the #1 upgrade I recommend is installing the tri-cut brush. It fits right in here, and this will cut the long hairs, but it doesn't come with this brush. This is the standard brush, which is kind of fluted. The long hairs are gonna go down here, and then you gotta pull this off, and there's where the long hairs will be, so. Here's what the door looks like. Here's the side brush. It can extend that side brush into the corner. And you will have to replace that once in a while. Carpet sensor, free spinning front wheel, and these are the cliff sensors, so it doesn't fall down your stairs. These have to be cleaned about every 30 hours. You just wipe them off. So I can't find this anywhere online now. Again, I bought this off Amazon, but they took the listing away. I'm not sure why. 26,000 pascals of suction, They've got this 212 degrees, turbo press, 12 nanometers down pressure, 1 hour eco dry by hot wind. This is kind of a new feature they're talking about. There's where it talks about 12 nanometers down pressure. 26,000 pascals of suction. And again, this called this 1 hour eco dry gentle heat. I'm not sure what that is. And again, this is completely redesigned. This is like, I'm sure this is like a metal heating pad. And the water is shooting out, or it's shooting out at an angle. I don't know. I don't think it removes the mop pads, but we're going to find out more when we get into the app. I don't even know if it has a dirt detection sensor going up into the dirty water tank, but we'll find out. Okay, so I've got the clean water tank filled up with clean water, and I like to add a little bit of this Shark Vac Mop solution. I call it 2 dabs. You don't want it to be sudsing up in when it's washing the mop pads. Now, you can find all of these products on my website, justadadapproved.com. I've got the world famous cleaning brush. You're going to need this for the dirty water tank from Walmart, $5. Some scrubbing bubbles and some Bissell multi-surface cleaner if you want a different kind of smell and cleaning action. But now let's prep the dirty water tank. Get Efferent tablets. They're for dentures. Every time you empty this dirty water tank, just put one in. It prevents the odor. I do have there is an upgrade you can put, like an ionizing module that goes down in there. I've got a video on it for the Mova P10 Pro. It's like the #1 upgrade for it. But if you want to just put an Efferent tablet in there, these dirty water tanks will really stink. So I've got the dock plugged in. There's a white light on the front. Okay, let's turn the robot on. These lights should start breathing if you hold it long enough. If you dock it, it turns it on also, but we got to scan this QR code with the app. There. Now they're breathing. It's going to speak to us. Okay, so you've got to get the Mova app. Here I've got it. You can control several different robots from it. But we're going to click the little add button up here. And then you have to give it access to your camera. I'm using an iPad Air. You can use a Samsung phone or an iPhone. But now you're going to point your camera at this QR code. And then it's going to say, select your Wi-Fi. So it only works on 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi. Select your Wi-Fi, give it your Wi-Fi password, and hit next. All right, now we need to it says, place the robot. Okay, so it's already on. It's already turned on. This tells you to turn it on. You have to release the hotspot. So what we're going to do now is you're going to press these 2 outer buttons simultaneously until it speaks to you.
Waiting for the network configuration.
Okay, come back here, click that. Hit next. This is going to transmit a Wi-Fi signal that the tablet's going to connect to. Hit device hotspot. You have to click join. And this should be all automatic. The tablet's going to connect to the robot. Tell the robot to connect to the Wi-Fi. Then the tablet should go back to your Wi-Fi. If it doesn't, sometimes I have had to swipe down into the Wi-Fi settings and actually manually connect to this Wi-Fi network.
To wait for the result.
You get 3 green check marks here. And we can go ahead and
network connected.
We can dock it.
Place robot back into dock before starting.
Okay, so when you dock it, you want
start charging. It means the installation is in place.
Yeah, that's important. So push this on until you hear charging. Those lights will kind of breathe.
Start charging.
Okay, I have the robot docked properly. Okay, hit finished. And it's got 27% battery, so that's not a whole lot of battery. But you're going to enter the device. Hit the enter button. Now, I do have it right next to the Mova P10 Pro. I will be doing a comparison video, but this video is just going to be about the Gen 2. You have to agree. Okay, so these settings are actually important, but you can change them later if you want. It's going to walk you through some recommended. So you want the mop to extend? I do. Do you want the side brush to extend into the corner? I do. This is important. I would leave this on. Do not disturb from 10 o'clock to 8 o'clock in the morning. Smart voice, you can have it. It is pretty nice. I turned mine off just because I got so many in the studio, but it is nice. And then we'll see if there's an update before we start. All right. It's going to walk you through. There's where you edit the map. There's your cleaning preferences. Okay. Okay, so there is a pop-up for a firmware update. If you don't get this pop-up, I'm going to show you where it is. It's the 3 little lines. Scroll down, firmware update. So we're going to do this update. I always do my updates. Turn this on auto, so future updates will automatically happen at night when you're not using it. And then hit update now. These usually don't take very long. The more I look at that sensor, I don't think that has a camera on the front. There's the Gen 2 sensor. There's the original P10 Pro. It has an LED light and a camera. But we're going to find out if it has a camera real quick in the settings. Okay, that took about 10 minutes. We've got a green check mark. Okay, so here is the front page. I don't think it has a camera because you'd have a camera button here. Okay, so let's go over the settings real quick. We're going to do a fast mapping. That's going to map your entire house. Let's just check the settings. Clean history, schedule. That's where you can put it on schedule. Carpet cleaning settings. These are important. Vacuum. I like that having set, and then click this. Now, carpet boost, it does get a little noisy whenever it's cleaning your carpets, but I do think you need that. But if it annoys you, you can turn that off. You got clean carpets first before it even wets its mop pads. That's a very nice setting I like to turn on. I'm not going to turn it on for this, but be careful with avoid, ignore, and cross. It will not vacuum carpet if any of those are selected. Or ignore means it'll mop carpet, so be careful with those. Floor cleaning settings, collision avoidance is on. Clean along floor direction. This will be important once we map our house. We can tell it where the floor direction is. Edge and corner is on. Mop extend for gap and around furniture legs. You can turn those on if you want. And then the frequency, I like that it's on high. How often is it going to extend that? Pet surroundings, strategic clean of pet areas. After it maps your home, you can tell it where the pet bowls and pet beds are and like kitty litter. It'll do extra cleaning around those. Dock settings. Okay, so here's where we're going to find if it has dirt detection. Mop wash, auto, mop water, washing water level. This is new. Mop washing water level. That's new. I don't understand why they're calling it a level. Or I guess like it's the level of cleaning. Okay, so that's a little different terminology. So if it's in water savings, it's going to use not very much water, standard or deep. How well is it going to clean the mop pad? And then we've got temperature. Normal, mild, warm. We do have high temperature for sanitizing. I'll leave it in the defaults. Mop drying, auto mop drying. We got 1, 2, 3. That's it. So I like to leave it in 2. But in the wintertime, you probably could go to 1. Auto empty settings, standard, high, if you have pets, put this on high frequency. How often is it going to come back to the base station and auto empty the dustbin? Intelligent, I mean, it says it figures it out for you, but I like high frequency. Detergent settings is on, that's all you get, it's enabled. It doesn't tell you how much it puts in. That's why I like to add the detergent to the clean water tank. Washboard auto clean. So you're going to have to clean the washboard every so often, and this is how you do it. So I don't see a dirt detection sensor. Voice assistant on or off. More functions. Do not disturb. Resume. If this thing, that's on by default. If the robot runs out of battery, it's going to go back and charge itself, and then it's going to pick up where it left off after it charges the robot. But that could be at 1 or 2 in the morning. So, but if you have do not disturb on, it won't start in there. So, notifications, remote control, Wi-Fi management, device management, robot water tank draining, find the robot, battery, off-peak charging. You can change the limit at how, I leave it at 100%. Accessories, this is how often you're going to get reminders to let you know when it's time to clean all of these. And then you're going to go in here, especially the sensors. Every 30 hours, you'll get a reminder. Then you hit cleaned, and it resets the timer. Mop, disposable, replace as needed. Device, Information. Yeah, you can change the name, time zone, square feet. I'm going to change the name a little bit just so I can see it better. Firmware update. Okay, so we're back to this home page. Let's do a quick, so open up all your doors, kind of put your furniture where it's going to be, pick up things, and we're going to tell it to fast map. That should be enough battery. It's going to walk you through.
Start mapping. It will take about 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay, so the robot's going to undock.
Please ensure the entire home is well lit
And it's going to
lock the room's entrance or move the robot or dock.
It's going to randomly go through your house. But what's the coolest thing, sit back and enjoy, it's going to make a map of your house. It is just the coolest thing in the world how LiDAR navigation works. That's why I only recommend robots with LiDAR navigation. Now, let's say you have a threshold. You can add those. So if you click that, it's going to pause the map. You can add the threshold, and it's not going to go over a super tall threshold. But if there's an area, say there's an area where you don't want it to map and the robot's never going to go, so you want it to stay away from that. So as it maps your home and you start to see that area, you can hit no-go zone, and you can put a virtual wall so it won't even go in there to map it. So, and those, I like that it does that during mapping. You can also do this after the map is completely finished. This is just while it's mapping, you can do it. And you'll see the robot travel. It's going to, it just works really well. Okay, mapping didn't take very long at all. It's going to come up with this. If it doesn't look like your house, you can hit remap, but it's correct. I closed off one door just to kind of make it quicker. But and if you had a door closed while you were doing this, whenever it cleans your home and it finds that room, it will just remap. It'll map it and show it. So click the map button right here. Okay, here we have room partition, cleaning order, no-go zones, thresholds, furniture, carpet, curtain, floor material. First thing we're going to do is room partition. So let's go through. It did a pretty good job of dividing up the rooms, but this big room, I want to divide it up. So hit divide, select the room, and now you got to move this red thing. If it's dotted, it won't divide. But move this to where you want to divide. Right there. That's going to be the corner cleaning test area. Now it hasn't identified where all the carpet is yet. You can hide rooms. Let's name rooms. Select a room, hit name. I do recommend using these names if they apply, but you can always add a custom name. Just because when it's in Clean Genius, if it's a kitchen, it cleans it differently. They don't tell us a whole lot. I should have asked when I was at CES. It was one of the questions I should have asked. Tell us more about Clean Genius. Okay, and then if it's got too many rooms, like this one, you can merge this one and this one, and it'll merge them. So take your time. This is really important, and you can also update this later. It may affect your schedule or the cleaning sequence, but you can always edit the map later. All right, click the map again. Cleaning order. So this is the order in which it's going to clean. I like to do the corner test area first. So click the 3 little lines and then drag it up. Now it becomes number 1. Then the living room. And hit check. You can change this at any time also. Hit the map button. No-go zones. Now these are really important. You may not know exactly where it's going to have trouble, but after it cleans your house a couple times, you're going to find out where this robot has a struggle and it gets stuck. So anywhere where there's a bunch of cords or cables, I'm going to hit a no-go zone. It's a square. You can make it any size you want. You can pinch and zoom the map. So I know I have a bunch of cables back here. I have a computer, and there's just a bunch of cables right here. So I'm going to tell it not to clean this area. Actually, let's just go there. And you can add no mop zones. If there's an area where it has trouble mopping, like it's not sensing the carpet really well, you can put a no mop zone. And anytime it's in mopping mode, it won't go in that area. But no go zone means it's going to, if it's in vacuum or mop, it's going to not go there. You can add those at a later time, no big deal. Thresholds, I don't know exactly how, this thing doesn't have any like feet that lift it over thresholds and stuff. So but it, you know, and you can put ramp or an impassable threshold. So if there's an area where it falls down and the cliff sensors don't work, you may want to put like an impasse, like tell it to turn around when it gets to a certain area. Furniture, I don't really mess with furniture. It's important like to put where the dog bed and the kitty litter thing is. Now carpet, this one's not going to come in play until this thing needs to learn your house. So have it clean your entire house for a couple weeks, go back, and then you're going to have to mess with some more settings like the carpet and the floor material. Right now it doesn't know. You can put curtains also. It's going to stay away from curtains, so the side brush. And if you add a curtain, it's like a little squiggly line. I don't have any curtains that hang down to the ground. Floor material, so I do know that this, so click the corner test area, hit floor material. I do know that it runs this way. So I select that. You can see how the floor tile now, it matches the direction that it is in the studio. See how it goes this way? That's exactly how it is in the map. And same with this room. But this room has some carpet, so I'm going to wait until it cleans my house a couple times. Oh, it didn't save that one. Floor material, this one, there, confirm. So now I can do floor direction. See how in the map, in the main map, see I have carpet over here. It doesn't show it yet because it hasn't cleaned the entire room yet. So in settings, you can go floor cleaning. Yeah, clean along floor direction. Now it'll clean along that direction of that floor, which I do think is important for it to mop in the direction of your floor. Okay, so we've done the map. If you have more than one home, you're going to click here, click multi-floor, and then you'll have to have it map that second floor. You just pick it up, take it upstairs, and tell it to map, and then you have to edit that map. And it can switch between the two floors. You know, if you take it up there and hit start, it knows what floor it's on. So now we're to the point of, let's go through the settings. I think we went through all of these. Put it on a schedule. This is the number one thing I tell people is put it on a schedule. It's easier to tell it to stop cleaning than to tell it to start cleaning. We just forget. So pick a start time. I do mine once a week. It cleans my entire house. You have to click here, pick what day. You can pick multiple days, but it's just going to use a lot of water. I do recommend doing it a couple days a week when you first get it, because these things, they're going to find a lot of dirt and debris. But pick a day, pick a time, and then Clean Genius. It's going to clean your entire house. Or you can tell it to clean a certain room, or you can tell it to just mop. So the way I set it up at my house, it cleans my entire house once a week. But then I have another schedule where like halfway through the week, it mops my kitchen floors only. Cleaning history is where you see the cleaning history. So yeah, we've pretty much went through all of these. Again, we don't have dirt detection sensor. It's kind of limited as far as what we have. This is okay. So now you're at this home screen. This little guy is always giving us stuff to do. I don't like it because it's notifications that kind of block what we want. Okay, here, when you hit clean, it's going to clean your entire house. Now, how it cleans is here. So we do have Clean Genius. That means it figures it out for you. You can do vacuum and mop or mop after vacuum, which is kind of nice. It doesn't get your carpets wet. Or you can do custom. So I could say, I just want to vacuum my entire house. So I'll go up here, hit vacuum only, and you could tell it what intensity. But again, if you have that carpet boost enabled, it's not going to matter where this is at. It's going to go to carpet boost and cleaning pattern. You can have it mop only. You get to select the level of wetness. So say you want to do just your whole house or just a certain room, you can pick the certain wetness. How often does it wash? By time or by room or by area. And it's got a little slider scale here. After 10 minutes, again, if the lower the number, the more water it's going to use, but the cleaner your house is going to be. So by room is if you don't want cross-contamination, like if you don't want it to mop the bathroom and then go right to the kitchen with the same mop pads, with the same water on the mop pads. Let's just do by area. And then you have, when it's in mop only, you've got 4 different patterns. You got a deep clean, which it just keeps it really has a really tight mopping pattern. Vacuum and mop, you're going to pick everything, the vacuum intensity, wetness, all of that. Mop after vacuum, that's nice. And then we have custom, which you can customize each room. I like to do Clean Genius, and then you can do, that's when you have the same features for a room. So let's just say you want to do a room. We're going to do this, select the room. You can do Clean Genius or you can do custom and go through all those settings that we just went through. And same with the zone. And if you want to do the room multiple times, you can go up to 3. Say that room's really dirty, it'll do 3 passes in that room, which is really nice. Zone. So when you hit zone, it's going to make this blue box. You're going to move the zone wherever the mess is. So say it's right here. You're going to tell it what to do in that zone and hit another zone. How many passes do you want it to go in the zone? It's going to do the same passes for both zones, but you can add multiple zones. Now back to the home page. Whenever you log into the app, this is always the first page. You hit enter. But if you go to me, this is where you're going to go to voice control. This is where you're going to set up your different voice controls for your different smart speakers. It's a little time, not really time consuming, but there's some steps you got to do. This one's the easiest. And that's back here on this home page. So let's go back to the device. And you can start and stop it from this page, but you got more functions when you go enter. There's the main. So here's the bottom side of the Mova P10 Pro Gen 2. It does have the standard brush roller. The side brush does extend into the corner. The mop pad extends. It can raise them up and down. It's got a carpet sensor. There is no camera on the front, so if you're concerned about privacy, it does have an obstacle avoidance sensor, and it does have LiDAR navigation, which is my #1 feature that I love. Here's the docking station where you're going to put clean water in the clean water tank, empty out the dirty water tank. It's going to heat the water, wash the mop pads. At the end of the job, it's going to dry the mop pads with hot air. Now, I really do like the Mova app. It's very easy to use. We're going to tell it to go clean the corner testing area. We're going to do 2 passes, and we're going to do a custom vacuum and mop, intense vacuuming, about 28 for wetness.
Selected room cleaning.
Okay, the first thing the robot's going to do, it's going to wash the mop pads. It's going to fill the internal water tank up with water. You can hear a water pump kicking on. There's the clean water tank that I filled up earlier. And what you're hearing now is it's filling the internal water tank up with water inside the robot. Because as it cleans, it can spray water on top of the mop roll or the mop pads. Okay, now it's spinning the mop pads, and it's going to wash them before it goes and cleans that room. That's going to do 2 things. It gets the mop pads clean, but it also gets them nice and wet so that it can start mopping right away. And what you'll hear kick on is a dirty water pump once in a while. It's going to suck the water up into the dirty water tank. Now, this base station does not have a dirt detection sensor, so it's just going to suck the water up into the dirty water tank. I do like robots that have a dirt detection sensor. They can sense how dirty that water is being sucked up into the dirty water tank and then tell the robot to go back and remop that area. Okay, it's going to undock itself and travel to that room to start cleaning. Okay, let's see how well the Mova P10 Pro Gen 2 is going to clean up this big mess. We've got a bunch of dirt and debris in the corner, some muddy paw prints, a cable, and a sock. So it can extend one of the mop pads right up against the wall. And it has a side brush that it can extend to clean that corner. That's doing a pretty good job of cleaning. Wow, that's a pretty good job. So that furniture is right at just above 4 inches tall, so it can go under a piece of furniture that is 4 inches. And the first thing it's going to do, it's going to do the perimeter of the room first, and then it's going to go back and forth and make the nice straight lines. And because it has LiDAR navigation, it does a really good job of mapping your home. You can see it is laying down some good water. I've got the water turned up pretty high, and you can adjust that on a sliding scale. All right, it did run that cable over on the side. Let's see how it does when it hits it face on. It did see it a little too late. I would have liked for it to seen that cable a little sooner. It's going to get wrapped up into that cable. So let me take the cable away now. Now here it is. Here's the app, and it shows you exactly where the robot is. It does not take pictures though. There's where the robot is. I do like this feature where you can tell it to go somewhere else. Like if it's bothering, you can tell it to leave, or you can say, oh, there's a bigger mess in a different room, go clean that first. Okay, so it's going to start mopping the muddy paw prints. Wow, it's doing a pretty good job. I do have it, it's going to do 2 passes. So the first pass will be left, right. Let's see how it avoids the sock. So it did sense the sock. It is staying away from it. I wish it stayed a little farther away from it, but it is going to go around it now. All right, it's doing a pretty good job. There's a little bit of smearing left. And it's going to do 2 passes, which I recommend if you have big muddy messes in a room. It can do up to 3 passes, which would be very good. Wow, that did an excellent job. All right, it's finished up with the first pass. Now it's going to start the second pass. And it's going to do the perimeter of the room first. So there's a little bit left in that corner. Didn't quite get it. It didn't extend that side brush. Okay, I'm not sure why it didn't extend its mop or its side brush into the corner, but there's something seems a little different with this robot. I got to verify that it's pressing down with 12 nanometer. I don't know if they all, I got to see what the Mova P10 Pro does, but that did a really good job with those muddy paw prints. Long hair, there's some long hairs that are strung throughout this. It's missing some of them. Yeah, like that one, it just kind of mopped. So I wonder if they're going to come out with a Gen 2 with a camera. So there's a little bit left in this corner. This is the second pass. Yeah, that did an excellent job. Excellent job. Yeah, For a first time use, I'm very pleased with this robot so far. Okay, there's why. It didn't consider that the perimeter of the room. So that first time it went there, that was not the perimeter of the room. So now it's going to go back and forth. You're going to get the crisscross pattern now, I call it. So I like that it's still avoiding that sock. Gets a little close to it, but again, the final score will not come till I take this to my house. I got to use it for 3 months and just see, that's where you tell the most from these robots. They can perform flawlessly here or do really bad here, and can be completely different when you're using it at your house under just normal conditions. We don't pick our house up all the time. There's stuff on the floor. There's constantly shoes and socks and blankets. And we have different types of rugs, so I'll get to see all how it does with different rugs. But it seems like it's pushing down more. I can't verify that. I'm on the Mova P10 Pro, and I don't see anywhere where it talks about how much downward pressure those mop pads put. And again, check my website where you can find the upgrades for this. This looks like the standard mop pads, brush rollers. The side brush might be a little different, but I recommend there's 2 upgrades for this, for the dirty water tank and the tri-cut brush. You can find them on my website, justadadapproved.com. And that website will be getting completely redesigned to make it easier and better for you. It's January, middle of January, and I'm hoping by the middle of February for that to be done. It's going to have all the upgrades for robots. I'll have all the stuff for cleaning them, doing the maintenance. Mainly, you're going to see the scoring on these robots. So it's just going to be a quick, easy place to go to. There's a hair left over. Looks like it was able to get that hair finally. There's a few here and there. But wow, is that corner clean? The muddy paw prints. It did not do very good with the obstacle avoidance on a cable. The app seems like it has the new style with the slider bar. You can wash the mop pad now. I like all of this design. This is very nice. There's where it avoided the sock. It's all done now. It's going to travel back to this new redesigned dock.
Returning to the dock to charge.
I'm in its way. And again, the listing for this went away on Amazon. I'm not sure. I bought it off Amazon, but now the listing's gone. So I think I got an early release. Sometimes things pop up on Amazon they don't intend. But there's that new dock. That's even newer than the X50, the Dreamy X50, the Mova V50. It's got these heating pads, which it talks about this 1 hour quick dry or something. But I didn't see a setting for it. Maybe that's the 1 hour. Again, very little info. I want more information on these. All right. Now, I didn't have a problem with my water tank. There has been some problems with it sucking water up.
Auto empty.
All right, the auto empty doesn't sound super loud. I'll check, make sure the dustbin is empty.
Start cleaning mop pads.
I have had on a Dreamy L10, I think it was the Gen 2, where I had to prime this pump. Basically, take that water hose with this tank installed and force water into that hose if you have problems. But here's the dirty water tank. Out of the box, it's working, other than I can hear a part rattling around inside the robot. Like a little screw or something when I shake the robot. But it seems to be working very well. No dirt detection sensor. It sounds pretty much like a standard Mova P10 Pro or a V50. You're hearing the mop pads spin. There's nothing, it doesn't detach the mop pads. There was no setting for that. Yeah, right now this all sounds pretty standard. Nothing too out of the normal.
Task completed. Please empty the used water tank timely. Start dehydrating mop pads.
Okay, the fan, you can hear the fan. It's not super quiet, but it's not super noisy either. Again, I don't know much about that drying. I got to learn more about that drying of the mop pad. Here's the dirty water tank. There's all the dirt that was on the floor. Let's make sure. Yeah, that's hot. That metal's hot. It did empty the dustbin all the way. That's good.
Paused.
Here's the bottom of the robot. Mop pads look clean. I do have hair wrap, so you're going to want to get the tri-cut brush. Yeah. The tri-cut brush is going to help with long hairs, side brush. Everything else looks fine. Okay, time for the carpet test with the Mova P10 Pro Gen 2. It can lift its mop pads 10 millimeters. Now, as you can see on this kind of taller carpet, it will drag those on the carpet, but in the app, you can tell it to vacuum before it mops, so the mop pads will not be wet. That's a really nice feature. Now I do have some kitty litter, some long hairs, and a bunch of coffee. Okay, now it's going to go back and forth in the nice straight lines. It did the perimeter of the room first. And it's going to do 2 passes. So the first pass will be left, right. Second pass, up, down. It's done a pretty good job of cleaning. There was a little bit of a curve. It missed a little spot there. And here's where the long hair is. It did leave some of the long hair on the carpet. Now I do recommend, there is an upgraded brush roller, the tri-cut brush. I think would work better for homes with long hair or pets. So it's doing a really good job with the dirt and debris. It is struggling with the long hair. I do have it on its maximum suction boost. Okay, so I am noticing a curve to the cleaning pattern, which, again, this is the first time vacuuming carpet. I'll keep an eye on this when I take it to my house. So far, I thought maybe I was expecting a little bit better with long hair, but that brush roller really does struggle with long hair. And that's why I do recommend you can put the upgraded tri-cut brush into it, but it's doing a pretty good job with dirt and debris. The side brush does spin on carpet. I'm not able to turn that off, but maybe with a future update to the app or something. And again, the Mova P10 Pro, check my website for upgrades. There's the tri-cut brush, which cuts the hairs. But I was expecting that 12,000 pascals, or no, 26,000 pascals of suction to maybe vacuum a little bit better. It's not super loud. And let's put it on quiet. Let's go to the app. Again, I got it on max. Let's go to quiet. Yeah, you can't hear this thing when it's on quiet. You just hear the motors. So again, my website will have all this information on it. I've got the spec sheet here I'm filling out. And it's going to have my ultimate score, but after 3 months, it'll have the data proof final verdict. Very simple, easy. I'm going to fill in these circles. You know, if it's 4 out of 5, it'll be very easy for you to see what the scoring system is. And then will it get the new just a data approved sticker? You know, it may have my sticker on it, but this is a new one that's going to be approved. Will this be approved by me? Okay, we're coming up on the second pass with the long hair and stuff. And we'll do an auto empty and make sure it auto empties everything. Nope, it didn't get that hair right there. So increased suction power doesn't necessarily mean better able to vacuum long hair. That's I need to keep that testing in. Now I do think the increased suction is helping with dirt and debris. There was a bunch of kitty litter here, which is super hard. Yeah, I don't see the kitty litter. A little bit of coffee left, definitely some hair left. Yeah, it's getting pretty much all the coffee. There's a few grains here or there, but now it's not going to be able to get dirt that is deep down in carpet. You'll have to get a corded vacuum cleaner for deep cleaning. But for everyday cleaning, this is going to do a good job. And the obstacle avoidance sensor kind of reminds me of the Dreamy Gen 2. That's not a camera, but it might be a little bit better actually. I'll have to do some. It'll show itself at my house real quick how good that obstacle avoidance sensor is, because we just don't pick up a lot of stuff around the house. I mean, we do when companies come over and stuff, but there's most days where there's a lot of stuff on the floor. I do think that increased suction power, this carpet test is better other than the hair. You really do have to have a roller design system for hair. You just can't increase suction power and expect it to pick up hair. So this is good. I learned something today. Okay, it's all done. It's going to go back to the docking station. There's the cleaning pattern. Again, we did see some, it wasn't perfectly straight lines. And I do think that has to do with these cheaper robots aren't able to chassis lift. So the wheels, that is not super thick carpet, but I think they can get kind of bogged down in it just a little bit. I don't see that type of, cleaning pattern when robots have chassis lift that can kind of ride on top of the carpet a little bit more.
Start auto empty.
That's about standard, about 75 up close. All right, let's make sure it auto emptied everything. It did. Okay, good. That tells me this design's working good. That was a big mess to clean up now.
Wheels are not in contact with the ground. Please reposition the robot and start it again.
Not too bad, actually. There's a bunch right here, but this is how it's designed. You pop these off. That's where the hair is supposed to go. You know, in theory, you would like it not to have any hair up at all, but this is a cheaper, really expecting them to just include the tri-cut brush, but they're not. This sticker wants to come off. Ha! It covers up the clean. Oh, that's hilarious. So, oh no, clean chop brush. That's not a clean chop brush. I don't know. But, oh. Very next video is coming, the L40 Gen 2. So this will be, I just did the P10 Pro Gen 2. It comes in a sideways box, but anxious for this one now. Again, I buy these with my own money. Check out my website, justadadapproved.com. Now, I have a bunch of robots coming from my house. Now, the Mobius 60, I'm getting ready to do the cleaning and my final verdict on it. Same with the Z60, I'm going to do the cleaning and the 3-month real-world test on it, and I'll be giving you my final result on it. But I've got the Dreamy Matrix 10 at my house. The Aqua 10 is coming home. It's been at my house for almost 3 months. It's coming back to the studio for... I'm going to do the cleaning and give you my final test results on it. And I think it'll be pretty surprising. So that video is coming real soon. So be sure and check out my website. I've got some fun things planned for that. It's going to be changing in the future. But right now you can see where all the top robots that I pick. There's even a section for best upgrades for robot vacuum cleaners. And so I've got all kinds of information where you're going to see quick and easy. Sometimes you don't have time to watch the videos, but you can always go to my website, justadadapproved.com. There's going to be a link in the video right here in a box you can click on. It's going to take you there. Again, I do use affiliate links. I'm an affiliate with Amazon and Walmart. If you click on the link, the product's not going to cost you anymore, but I do earn a small commission. So I buy and test these robots with my own money so you don't waste yours. That's my job. I don't want you to waste your money on a bad robot. If that's helpful, make sure you subscribe because prices and products change fast. So go to my website, justadadapproved.com. I have an email list, and when a product that I highly recommend goes on sale, I send an email out. I don't send out a bunch of emails, just when products that I love and I want to save you money. So again, thanks everybody for watching. So stick with me and I'll help you avoid wasting money.